In the bustling heart of a modern city, there are stories hidden in plain sight, stories of hope, struggle, and heartbreak. Among these is the tale of Andre Carter, a young black man who, despite his brilliance, became another statistic in a deeply flawed system. But this story is not just about the injustice he endured, it's about the courage it took to rise above it and reclaim his humanity. This isn't just Andre's story, it's a story for anyone who has ever felt unseen, unheard, or erased. Andre Carter's childhood was defined by contrasts. He grew up in Southside, a tight-knit neighborhood where vibrant murals celebrated culture and resilience. Yet, just beyond the corner, crime and poverty painted a starkly different picture. Ruth Carter, Andre's mother, was the bedrock of their family. After losing her husband to a workplace accident when Andre was 6, Ruth took on multiple jobs to provide for Andre and his younger sister, Maya. Despite the hardships, Ruth made their tiny apartment a haven of love and warmth. Even as a boy, Andre showed signs of brilliance. His fascination with numbers was almost magical. While other kids spent afternoons playing video games or basketball, Andre could be found hunched over a notebook, solving equations or creating complex patterns with numbers. Teachers marveled at his gift, often calling him a math prodigy. By high school, Andre was not just a star in academics, he was also a leader in his community. He tutored younger kids, organized neighborhood cleanups, and dreamed of attending college to become a financial analyst. To everyone who knew him, Andre was a beacon of hope in a world that often seemed dark. Andre's life took a tragic turn on a warm summer evening. Freshly graduated with honors and about to start an internship at a renowned accounting firm, he was walking home after celebrating with friends. He had barely stepped onto his street when police officers approached him, sirens wailing. "Stop where you are!" one shouted, their hands on their holsters. Confused and alarmed, Andre raised his hands. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice steady but laced with fear. "You match the description of a robbery suspect," one officer said coldly. Andre tried to explain that he had just left his friend's house, but his words fell on deaf ears. He was handcuffed, searched, and shoved into the back of a police car. Neighbors peeked from their windows, their faces filled with shock and fear. At the police station, Andre was interrogated for hours. The evidence against him? A grainy surveillance video showing a tall black man in a hoodie and an eyewitness who claimed to have seen the suspect flee. Despite the flimsy case, Andre was charged with armed robbery. When Ruth arrived at the station, she was hysterical. "My son didn't do this. He's never been in trouble a day in his life," she cried. But her pleas went unanswered. Andre's public defender urged him to take a plea deal, warning that a trial could result in a harsher sentence. But Andre, refusing to admit to something he didn't do, decided to fight. The trial was a nightmare. Despite Ruth and Maya testifying that Andre had been home at the time of the robbery, the jury seemed more swayed by the prosecutor's narrative than by the lack of evidence. Andre was convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Prison was a world unlike anything Andre had ever known. Stripped of his identity, he became inmate number 42,856, a number in a system that saw him as less than human. The days were long and grueling. Andre witnessed violence, isolation, and despair. But even in the darkness, he refused to give up. He started tutoring fellow inmates, teaching them basic math and helping them manage their finances. Slowly, Andre carved out a sense of purpose in a place designed to break him. Still, the weight of his wrongful conviction was heavy. Letters from Ruth and Maya were his lifeline, but as the years passed, those letters became less frequent. Ruth's health was declining, and Maya was shouldering the burden of keeping their family afloat. Outside, life continued. Maya graduated college and found work as a social worker, inspired by her brother's resilience. Ruth, despite her deteriorating health, never stopped fighting for Andre's freedom. One day, Ruth collapsed at work and was rushed to the hospital. As she lay in the hospital bed, she clutched Maya's hand. "Promise me you won't give up on your brother," she said. "I promise," Maya replied, her voice steady. but her heart breaking. 15 years into Andre's sentence, Maya came across the Justice Initiative, a non-profit dedicated to freeing the wrongfully convicted. She reached out to Claire Morgan, a passionate attorney who agreed to take on Andre's case. Claire's investigation uncovered damning evidence. The surveillance footage, enhanced with modern technology, clearly showed a man with different facial features. The eyewitness admitted to being pressured by the police to identify Andre. The lead detective had a history of racial profiling and misconduct. Armed with this evidence, Claire filed an appeal. The courtroom was packed on the day of the hearing. Andre, now a man hardened by years of injustice, sat beside Claire, his hands trembling. Ruth, frail but determined, sat in the front row with Maya. Claire's presentation was a masterclass in advocacy. She methodically dismantled the prosecution's case, presenting the new evidence with clarity and passion. When the judge announced that Andre's conviction was overturned, the courtroom erupted in emotion. Andre fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. Ruth and Maya rushed to embrace him, their family finally whole again. Adjusting to life outside prison was not easy. Andre struggled with PTSD, the stigma of his incarceration, and a world that had changed dramatically in 15 years. But with the support of his family and Claire, he found his footing. He started a nonprofit to help other wrongfully convicted individuals and began speaking out about systemic racism in the justice system. Andre also pursued his love for numbers, opening a financial literacy center in his old neighborhood. The center provided free education and resources to underprivileged youth, ensuring that others wouldn't fall through the cracks as he had. Years later, Andre stood on a stage, addressing a crowd at a criminal justice reform rally. "I was erased by the numbers," he said, his voice steady. "But I'm here today because of love, determination, and the belief that justice is worth fighting for." As the crowd erupted in applause, Andre looked at Ruth and Maya in the audience, their faces beaming with pride. His journey was proof that even in the face of immense injustice, redemption and hope are always possible. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to me. If you found this story meaningful, I would be so grateful if you shared it with your friends and family. Together, we can inspire more people to reflect on the challenges we face and the hope we can find in overcoming them. If you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more emotional and thought-provoking stories. Your subscription helps me continue creating content that matters. And please, leave your thoughts in the comments. How did this story make you feel? I love hearing your opinions and having conversations about these important topics. Your voice truly makes a difference. Thank you again for being a part of this journey. See you in the next video.